Wow, Fourth Presbyterian Church, congratulations. 150 years. On behalf of Chicagoites, the church's youth development and adult social services organization, it is truly a delight on this occasion to share some thoughts and memories. It actually feels like giving a toast at your sister's wedding or your parents' anniversary party, which makes sense because Fourth Presbyterian Church and Chicagoites are of one another, like family. There would be no Chicagoites without Fourth Church. And when I think of the small group of Fourth Presbyterian Church members who birthed 57 years ago now, what is the tutoring program? I have such deep appreciation and gratitude for them because Fourth Presbyterian Church is a very special place. I learned that after just 10 minutes waiting in the reception lobby before meeting with T. Akbar to discuss a job opportunity. In that 10 minutes, it seemed like I saw all of humanity coming through. I remember seeing people of various ages and racial backgrounds and people who appeared to have vastly contrasting economic experiences. I was excited by a place where everyone was welcome. I didn't know what exactly T was going to offer me, but I knew whatever it was, I was definitely going to say yes. So that first position that I had, it was 25 years ago now. It was at the Center for Whole Life, which was one of the programs of Partners in Education, which is what Chicagoites was called back then. And the Center for Whole Life was a drop-in center in one of the Cabrini Green apartments where we engaged residents in supportive programming. And to start my orientation, T had me go over to the center with Joy Houston and Sue Buchanan. And besides T. Akbar, they were really the very first people from Fourth Church that I had spent any time with. And they were my teachers and tour guides, so to speak. Between T, Joy, and Sue, I was really offered an education in being one's authentic self in all sorts of worlds. It really was a lesson in, sure, we're here to do something, and maybe that something will go as planned and make a difference, but really we're here to just be with people. And when you're willing to just be, God shows up. So I'll always be grateful to T, Joy, and Sue for that, and many other lessons. And honestly, my experience has been that Fourth Church is full of folks who provide those kinds of lessons. When I think of you, Fourth Church, I think of generosity and I think of love in action, because that's what has shown up in so many ways as you've partnered with Chicagoites over the years. There was never any doubt to me just how important and valued the work of Chicagoites was to Fourth Church members, and especially all the pastors, John, Dana, Callum, Vicky, and now Shannon, always making sure that Chicagoites had what it needed, whether that meant offering an auction item for the gala or weaving into a sermon a story about the tutoring program when we still needed volunteers. The support has always been there. And, I think that's because there's this deep knowing that it meant and continues to mean so much to so many people. When I think about the generosity of Fourth Presbyterian Church, I think of the Gala of Hope, when on one evening every year you provide about a quarter of Chicagoites' operating budget. I think of the wonderful Ron Majors darting all around the ballroom, shouting out the numbers of the many, many paddles raised. I think of him stirring up a little healthy competition between the auction bidders and just how much fun we have. I think of how during this pandemic, when the Social Service Center was not able to accept gently used donations, you kept us stocked with new clothing so that we wouldn't have to turn anyone away when they asked for a sweatshirt or a clean pair of jeans. I think of the many years of Christmas wishes and backpacks filled with school supplies. Fourth Church, you also show up through love in action. Year after year, you show up to make a difference in a young person's life through the tutoring program. Many times, the one-to-one pairings last through the young person's entire school career and sometimes beyond. making a difference in the life of the student and making a difference in the life of the tutor. You show up to the urban farm for cookouts or to work a garden plot to build community with the residents of the row houses. You show up to dance academy and summer day performances, letting young people know that their hard work matters, that they matter. You show up to help social service center participants select clothes they need from our share shop or the food they need from our food pantry. You show up to share information or skills with participants in our case management support and enrichment groups. You showed up when one of our tutoring parents was being wrongly evicted and taken to court without representation. I remember Jean Bishop made a connection to make sure that this parent wasn't alone in court or left on the street with her young children. And there are countless times like that when you've been there. Fourth, you've made a difference to so many. And as you know, the needs are not lessening, but I continue to believe that together we truly can build brighter futures. My dream would be that in the anniversaries to come, the celebration will be about the end of homelessness, or that there's quality education for all children and access to good mental health care for all. And I pray someday there's an end to gun violence and to poverty and to racism. But until we can celebrate those things, I encourage you, Fourth Church, to continue the generosity and the love and action that you do through Chicago Lights. I also really appreciate the anti-racism work that has begun here. And it is difficult and it is painful work, and yet we are called to do it. In some ways, I believe it could be the most love and action that Fourth Church and Chicago Lights can possibly offer. We have to show up for it. And that's what you do, Fourth Church. You show up. You show up with resources and skills and love. And I'm just so grateful to get to be around it. Fourth Presbyterian Church, on this 150th anniversary, I thank you for who you are and who you will continue to be. Congratulations.